All right, fellas, welcome back to another episode of the Positive Man Show. Let's get real for a moment, though. Emotional intelligence, it's not something most of us were taught growing up. It's something we had to figure out on our own, through pain, through mistakes, through silence. And the truth is this, what we don't learn early on, we struggle to pass on later. See, as young boys, many of us were taught to be tough, but not taught how to process. We were told to be strong, but not shown how to express. And because of that, we grew up into men who sometimes feel deeply, but don't always know how to communicate it. And here's where it hits home, people. If we don't learn emotional intelligence early, we risk raising the next generation the same exact way, leaving our sons to navigate emotions without a map and our daughters to interpret love without clarity. But imagine a shift. Imagine a world where young men are raised with awareness, with understanding, with ability to communicate, lead, love from a place of an emotional strength, not emotional suppression. That's what today's episode is about, ladies and gentlemen, because today we're sitting down with a powerful example of what that looks like in real life. We've got HRH King, Dr. Ruben West in the building, a leader, a mentor, a visionary, and more importantly, a father who has made it his mission to pour into the next generation with intention. And joining him is his son, Prince Robinson West, a young man who is a direct reflection of that guidance, that leadership, and that emotional foundation being built the right way. This isn't just a conversation. This is a blueprint on how fathers can lead, how sons can grow, and how emotional intelligence can shape legacy. So do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, and lean in, listen up, and let's get ready, because this one right here, this one is for the future of our sons and the evolution of the modern man. This is for the men who are tired of pretending that they're okay. For the man carrying pressure, responsibility, doubt, and expectation, and still showing up every single day. This is a space where strength means honesty, where growth comes from trust, and where becoming a better man starts from the inside out. Welcome to the Positive Man Show. Real conversations, real struggles, real growth, because a positive man isn't a perfect man. He's a man who's willing to do the work. Let's grow, let's heal, let's lead. This is the Positive Man Show. Children are great imitators, so give them something great to imitate. Children rarely become what we tell them to become. They become what they see consistently modeled in front of them. When it comes to raising sons and daughters with emotional intelligence, the real work isn't just teaching kids how to behave. It's teaching them how to understand their emotions, how to communicate their feelings, how to respect others, and how to lead with empathy. For generations, many parents were taught to focus on discipline and survival. But today we're learning that emotional intelligence is one of the most powerful tools that we can give the next generation, because emotional intelligent children grow into better leaders, better partners, better parents, and better human beings. Today's conversation explores what happens when fathers and mothers intentionally raise children who understand both strength and emotional awareness. Tonight, we talk about something incredibly important: raising sons and daughters with emotional intelligence. This isn't just about parenting, people. This is about shaping our next generation. It is my absolute honor to introduce a man who doesn't just talk about transformation. He lives it, he breathes it, and he pours it into every single life he touches. We're talking about none other than King Dr. Ruben West, a visionary, leader, a mentor, a man of purpose and power. Dr. Ruben West is the founder of Black Belt Speakers Academy, where he equips voices across the world to step into their authenticity, own their story, and command the stage with confidence and conviction. He is a leader who understands the greatness isn't just given, it's developed. And through his teachings, his presence, and his unwavering commitment to growth, he has helped countless individuals like myself break through limitations and step into the next levels of our lives. But beyond these titles, ladies and gentlemen, beyond the accolades, he is a man on a mission to raise kings, build leaders, and awaken purpose in those who are ready to answer the call. So I need you all to lean in on this. I need you to open your minds, and I need you to get ready to receive from a man who is walking in true alignment with his calling. But beyond the titles and accomplishments, Dr. West is also a father who believes in leadership, and he believes that that leadership begins at home.
Joining him tonight is his son, Prince Robinson West. Together, they represent something powerful: the relationship between fatherhood, leadership, and emotional intelligence passed from one generation to the next.
First of all, thank you, gentlemen, for having us on the show, and for every single person listening. This is what I can guarantee you. At the end of this, you're going to get some transformational information that you can use tonight. You don't even have to wait till tomorrow. You'll be able to use this information tonight. So I'm excited to be here. Chuck, I was excited to be here, David, and let's get this party started.
First of all, you have many, many, many titles. How have you went from basic small town Topeka, Ruben West, to now king?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me tell you step by step. What's important is that you follow the process. I think back 15 years ago, they could have made me a king, but all I would have is a title. In other words, I couldn't execute as a king. I couldn't operate as a king. And so many people want to skip the process. And to the extent that they'll pay for it. But one of the things I learned is never buy your way out of education, because you have to learn the lesson at the lowest level possible. So there's a lot of lessons I learned as Ruben West. There's a lot of lessons I learned as Ambassador Ruben West, or Dr. Ruben West, or international speaker Ruben West. All of those things came with new lessons. And here's the great thing. In February of this year, I was coronated as king in the Home Royal Kingdom in South Africa. And the great thing is there's a lot of lessons that I come already knowing. So I don't have to learn those lessons again. I don't have to make those mistakes again. Watch this, Chuck. I don't have to be hoodwinked again, because a lot of people, well, took advantage of me. And it's probably my fault, but it's okay. Yeah. You learn the lesson at the lowest level possible, because in the end, it has to be learned. So now I'm here ready. And let me tell you about the titles. They're not for me. The titles represent an office, like president or governor or mayor. Yeah, you're the mayor, but the mayor's office comes with responsibilities. The president's office comes with responsibilities. The office of a king comes with responsibilities. And now I am ready to actually carry out those responsibilities and duties in a way that will make all of us proud.
You started out in Topeka.
Yes.
You now govern in office kingship.
Yes.
What's the name of your kingdom?
Home Royal Kingdom, KHAM. Royal Kingdom in South Africa.
South Africa. I got to throw this in there. A year and a half ago, this man took me to Africa. I took the stage in Africa and became an international speaker. So when you hear me say, it's your boy, international speaker, Dr. Coffee Cup Chuck, it's because of this man right here.
And that's part of what I love doing. Part of my responsibility on my own is to help people achieve what they want to achieve, especially if I've done it. I've become an international speaker. I've gotten to speak in a lot of different countries. I've gotten to meet with world leaders, and I don't say that as something to say. I'm literally sit down with presidents, more than one, more than two, more than three, more than four, vice presidents. I'm Ruben from Topeka.
And I know that for a fact,
right?
Because you had me get up and bring up some of these big leaders to give them awards.
Right, exactly. And I say it to say that you can't put a limit on what you're able to do or where you're able to go. And honestly, regardless of where you're at now, you have no idea where you can go from here. Because there was a time, if you had told me, hey, Ruben, get ready, because you're going to be going to the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. You're going to be hosting an event, giving out awards to leaders. You're going to go with your son, and you guys are both going to be speaking through French interpreters. What? Who? It wasn't in my realm of possibility. What happens is, over time, as we grow and as we develop, by the time I got there, I wasn't shocked. I felt like I belonged there. And my whole job was to make sure he was there, because I want to prepare him to go farther and higher and faster than I ever went. So when I go international, every chance I get, I want to make sure he's there. I want to make sure he sees it. I want to make sure he feels it. I want to make sure he understands it, so that when he's standing there and I'm not there, he's like, I've been here before. I've done this before, and I belong here.
Mm. I want to ask you this question right here. How do you think emotional intelligence affects the confidence in the children that we're raising?
It's a tremendous effect on the children that we're raising. And watch this. It's going to affect them either way.
Right.
And so if they don't have any, it's going to affect them negatively. And if they have it, it's going to affect them hopefully positively. And not only that, they'll be able to do more with it. Let me tell you my idea of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is being able to operate in a situation and understand the emotions that are affecting that situation and use them for the best possible outcome, for the best possible outcome. Now, here's the problem. You can't use something you don't have. And so if you don't have any emotional intelligence, then already you can't use it for the best possible outcome. It's not to say that you can't get a good outcome.
Right.
But I don't think that you can use it for the best possible outcome because you can't use what you don't have. And so that's why you can turn on the internet right now and you'll see people arguing backwards, and they just get each other worked up. And the next thing you know, they have to fight.
Yeah.
They have no ability to de-escalate. They have no ability to step back and take a pause. Then here's what gets me, Chuck. You know, I own a martial arts school and we've had it for a long time. And one of the things I realize is somebody's about to get hit.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see people on the video arguing, and you see the other person getting pumped up and worked up, and then they start cut, and the other person just standing there like, well, I didn't say it. Well, I didn't do it. It doesn't matter if you said it or did it. They're about to crack you, but you have no idea that their emotions are getting worked up and amped up, and then the people around them say, don't let them talk to you like that. You gonna accept that? You better do something. And then the next thing you know, bam! And then they act like they didn't know it was coming. It was coming. If you had emotional intelligence,
you
you'd
wouldn't know.
realize that, number one, they probably don't have any, and you just standing there. See, because what they're thinking is, if I don't do anything threatening, then nothing's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
But that's because you don't have the emotional intelligence to understand that whether you do anything threatening or not, another person could be so emotionally inclined and involved with anger that they'll attack you. Listen to this, and if you're taking notes, write this down. Please. Anger is the wind that blows out the lamp of the mind. Come on, somebody.
Say that again, man.
Anger is the wind that blows out the lamp of the mind. And so when you see people that are heightened and angry, you can't expect them to act intelligently. Why? Because anger is the wind that blows out the lamp of the mind. So that means you have no idea what's coming next.
Yeah.
Although I usually do. Crack.
Yeah, because you have
Emotional intelligence.
And the reason why we asking that question, because where do you get that from? How are our children able to grow? You got to have it. You got to get it from somewhere. It don't just pop into your mind, because we're all influenced as we grow. Where do the children get this emotional intelligence from?
They would be brought up in an emotionally intelligent household. So that's the ideal situation, is they would be put in situations where they can develop emotional intelligence and then put in situations where they could use emotional intelligence. The problem is a lot of parents have never mastered emotional intelligence, and I'm not blaming them. It's no fault of their own, because it really became a new concept. You can go back some years and nobody was talking about emotional intelligence. Intelligence was relegated to educational learning, math, science, things like that. But then they started to realize that there's other levels of intelligence. There's musical intelligence, right? And then they said there's emotional intelligence. And what they started realizing is that there's areas of intelligence that we've never put real focus on. And now, as we're becoming more and more intellectually inclined about what emotional intelligence is, now we can start looking at how we can transfer it to our children. And here's what I'm going to say right now. Our children are at a disadvantage because a lot of parents don't know it, and they don't develop it because of social media and because of iPads and iPhones. I don't know how old you are, Coffee Cup Chuck and David, but I'm 57. When I was in grade school and junior high and high school, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have tablets. We didn't have any of that. And so because we had to go out and play, and we had to go out and get along, there's some intelligence we learned.
Yeah.
There's some things that I ain't hanging around with them, or I'm going to hang around with them, or I might say it, but I ain't going to say it to him because we might get knocked out.
Yeah.
Like there's some understanding that we knew just from the connection with each other. And that's why I say I'm always so shocked to see somebody stand there and you see them arguing, you see them yelling, you see them getting closer and closer and closer to you. When I was younger, that meant something.
Yeah.
Right? And they would just stand there and go, I don't know what you think. How?
Nowadays, in today's world, there are a lot of people with emotional intelligence, but they're the ones behind the camera. They see it coming,
Right.
and the person standing there don't see it coming, but they get their camera out and they get it ready because
They know
what's
it's
about to
coming.
happen.
I'm going to make some money. I'm going to get some views and likes off this.
Yeah.
And they get their camera ready. Yeah, and so what we have to do is we have to be more diligent about how we're going to transfer the knowledge of emotional intelligence to our children. How do we do it successfully and in this environment?
Definitely.
It doesn't do me any good to raise Robinson like I was raised because that world doesn't exist anymore. You're raising him behind the eight ball. Say, well, the kids have the iPhones and iPads and tablets and Androids, and you know what they say? The kids are just different nowadays. Write this down. Children aren't different. Technology is.
Yeah.
We can't blame them for using the technology that they have available. When I was younger, I remember we used to go to the library for everything. We'd have to go look up stories, look up books and the Dewey Decimal System, the Library of Congress, and all this stuff. We had to look it up. And then they came around. Who is it? It was a salesman, and they had Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, you ain't got to go to the library every day all the time. You could get these set of encyclopedias, and what you're looking for, you can find it in the encyclopedia. And we were like, what? And so my dad, he said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get you the Encyclopedia Britannica. And we had a whole set of them. And so now we stopped going to the library. We wasn't different. The opportunity was.
Yeah.
We still had to look up the same information. We just did it over there on the shelf as opposed to getting in the car, going to the library. And then they come around and say, hello, we have a thing called iPhone and an Android and a tablet and an internet and a Google and AI. And if the kids have this in their hand, why would they go over to the counter to look up the Encyclopedia Britannica? Or why would they go to the library? They still want to know the information. They're not different. Technology is.
Yeah.
And so with that technology, they can just do it on their phone. Now, catch this, the phone does not require emotional intelligence. When you went to the library, there was a way you had to conduct yourself in the library. There was a way you had to speak to the librarian. There was a way you had to ask questions if you wanted to get help. But Google doesn't care if you yell the question in the phone. So you don't have to have emotional intelligence to get answers. But when we were younger, we did, even if we were going to talk to an adult. There's some ways that we would ask and some respect that we would show that when we see people do it now, like, what in the world? What's wrong with them? Because we can't ever imagine us talking in that manner to an adult.
Right.
And now you see videos of children in school fighting the teachers and cussing them out and yelling back. And what's lacking? Emotional intelligence and self-control.
Yeah, big time. Because I would get sent to the office when I was growing up, and I didn't beat my teacher up. I went to the office, and while I was walking to the office, all the other bad kids were standing out in the hall.
Coffee cup Chuck. Let's just a moment of transparency. I got in trouble, and when she pulled out the discipline referral slip, I already started crying.
Because you knew what was about to happen.
I already know.
Yeah.
Because my parents, my grandparents, they didn't play.
A lot of them are growing up being parented by young kids. They're young.
Yes.
You know, and then they want to be their friends because they're so young and they never knew how to parent. So now they want to befriend their kids.
Yes. And children don't know the danger of having a parent that is more like a friend than a parent. They don't know. They don't even think it's. I was talking to a kid not too long ago, and I said, "What do you like about this relationship?" He said, "I like it because the father and the children, and they seem like friends, and that's really good. I think if every parent's situation could be more like friends, it would be better. But see, there's something and there's something and there's something I know that we know that doesn't work.
No.
And they don't know it doesn't work until later, and it's too late when it didn't work. And then you're like, well, what do we do now?
Yeah.
See, they don't know. A lot of them, it's not their fault because they have to go with what they know, but what they know doesn't work. So now what do you do when you find out what you've been doing is not what you should have been doing? And how do you draw that back in, and how do you correct it?
Yeah. You got to start training these kids at a young age. We're trying to scale our business up, and we hired a coach. He walked through the back door because he wanted to walk and see what's in the back first and work his way to the front because the problems are always hidden. So he came through the back and he walked through and he was impressed and he said, I can work with you guys.
Yeah.
He wasn't a friend. He was a coach, a mentor, someone who was here to get us right, to get our head right so we can get our business right. Basically what I'm saying is he wasn't nice in any kind of way. He didn't come in here and say, oh, don't worry about being late. Don't worry, we'll fix that. No, he basically was like, no, that's not the way you do it. And this is why. You can't be their friends.
And when children hear this, they don't like what we're saying. please don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying you can't be friendly. I'm saying you can't be their friend. You see, the great thing is we all have friends. We all have friends. I love my friends. And you know, some of them are great and some of them are crazy, but I love my friends. And here's what I can tell you. Your friends love you just the way you are. They're not judging you. They're not trying to change you. They just accept you. And like I said, some of my friends are crazy. I just accept my crazy friends. Listen to this. Your friends love you just the way you are. Your parents love you too much to let you stay the same.
Right. Ooh.
So they're not, their job is not to be your friend and to love you just to, oh, my son's crazy, but that's just my son. No, it's my job to make my son so he's not crazy.
Yeah.
So your parents love you too much to let you stay the same or go down the wrong path. And that's why we have to have that delineation. We can be friendly, but we're not there to be your friend.
No.
Yeah.
When I was in Africa, you took us to a village. Your presence in Africa was real. When I say this, ladies and gentlemen, he had a lot more control than I expected. I felt protected because of him. And we'll talk about that later in the show for anyone who's willing to get out of their comfort zone and want to experience what Africa is like. We can talk about that a little later. When we were in Africa, you took us to a village and these people loved you and your family. I'm not going to just say you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They loved you and
Yes.
your family.
I agree.
The first thing you took us to a kitchen. You explained what that was, which was amazing. You're doing some amazing things over in Africa. And then you took me to a playground.
Yes.
And it blew me away because of who the dedication from the playground was. When I stepped foot on that playground and I seen what was happening, oh my God. I said, this man has everything covered.
So I believe what you're saying. You know, when you say the kitchen, during COVID, we had already been to Kenya. And during COVID, my wife and I reached out to Pastor Juma and we checked with him and say, is there anything that you need? And one of the things he said is, you know, I can use some food.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, okay, well, we can't send you food, but we can send you some money. How much do you need? He said, maybe some $100. So we sent 200. And then we gave him a direction. Whatever you do, keep it for yourself and only use it for food. And then a day or two, he calls back and he said, first, let me ask you for your forgiveness. I'm going to apologize because I didn't follow your instruction. Did only use it for food, but I'm a pastor over a church and a community. And there's no way I can go get food for me and my family. And the people that I'm serving are just left hungry.
Yeah.
And I thought that is just great. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Then he sent us videos of them delivering these packs of food to these families, and they were so appreciative. And I was like, wow, that's great. What else do you need? Because that just got me excited to help someone. What else do you need? He said, well, like what? I said, I don't know what. You tell me. He said, well, we have this school, but the building isn't finished and it needs some work in the inside and we have to do the painting. I said, how much is that? And he told me and I sent him the money. And then every day they start sending these videos of them doing the work. I was like, man, this is great. And I said, what else do you need? And he said, well, I don't know. Like what? I said, I don't know, but we want to do something our own. Like, what can we do? And you could see his hesitation. And he said, well, I mean, we could use a kitchen and a dining facility. And I said, what is that? He said, well, it would go along with the school. It'd be a place where they can go eat and prepare the
meals.
food and stuff. And I was like, well, where do they do it now? And he said, just wherever, you know, maybe eat in the class or eat outside on the ground or wherever. I mean, we just have to do it. And I was like, well, figure out what that'll cost and tell us. And so they figured it out. It was originally going to be a 1-story. It ended up being a 2-story. We had to dig 5-6 feet down just for the foundation, all this stuff. It ended up being a lot more than what we thought, but it's okay. And then we had to put a water thing in there to bring the water and all these different things. And so we loved doing it. And then we dedicated it to my mom, Zetta M. West Kitchen and Dining Facility, because my mother is a mentor to many. She's a mom to many. And I thought that would really represent who she was and what she stood for. And my son, of course, had been going with us this whole time. He'd been seeing these things. He's been experiencing it. And this is what I want to say. You teach, for every parent, listen, write this down. You teach what you know, you reproduce who you are. You teach what you know, you reproduce who you are. Right? So there's a lot of business professors that teach business. There's a lot of that create more entrepreneurs to have a business. You know what I'm saying? Because the professors are teaching what they know.
Yeah.
The entrepreneurs are reproducing who they are. I'm going to show you how to be an entrepreneur. I'm not here to teach you about business. I'm going to show you how to be an entrepreneur. Now, you can go learn some more stuff about it, but I have to reproduce who I am. So my son We had been going back and forth. He had written this book. He had been taking some stuff over there and toys and books and all this stuff. And then he asked the question, well, where do the children play? And of course, there's weeds and fields and corn and it's very hilly.
Hilly?
And they were like, well, just out here. He's like, where? Because he's a kid. He wants to look for the slides in the playground. And they said, this right over here. And they said, well, there's no playground? He said, well, no, this is where they play. And so he came to me and he said, Dad, the children need a safe place to play. But since he's been a kid, every day when I would wake him up, I'd say what?
You're full of greatness and possibility.
Every day. You're full of greatness and possibility. You're full of greatness and possibility. His first international speech was in Kenya. And you know what he told them? You're full of greatness and possibility. Because you teach what you know, but you reproduce who you are. And so he's like, if I got to tell him something, I have to tell him who I am. He said, I'm full of greatness and possibility, and you know what? So are you. So he said they need a place to play. I said, like what? And he said, a playground. And I asked the profound question. Powerful people ask powerful questions because questions steer focus, and in life, you only get what you focus on. Powerful people ask powerful questions because questions steer focus, and in life, you only get what you focus on. And whatever you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. So I asked him a question. They need a playground? Yeah. What are you going to do about it? And he said, build a playground? I said, yes. And he said, well, where am I going to get the money? I said, where are you going to get the money? He said, from you and Mom. I said, no. Right? That's a logical thing for a kid to ask.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it from you and Mom. No, you're not going to get it from me and Mom. You don't need to get it from me and Mom. You know why? Because you're full of greatness and possibility. So you can go get the money. And I know it was hard for him to accept it at 8 or 9 or whatever it was, but he wasn't rejecting it. He just didn't understand how money worked and where you got it and all this stuff. And so he started asking us. Well, my wife had been putting him in modeling contests and pageants since he was 3. So he said, when you go back to your next contest, you're going to win and we're going to get your sponsors and we're going to take that money and you can use it for your playground. And he went. It was just what we said. He won. He took the money. And then we said, we're going to use it for the playground. He said, what? Like it sounded like a good idea at first. You know what I'm saying? But now I got to give this money away.
Yeah.
You see? Because excellence requires sacrifice. Excellence requires sacrifice. It went from a concept of I can build a playground to, oh, I got to get the money. I got to come up with it. And when I get it, I got to do what? Give it away? Like, that's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you're a kid. But what I kept reminding you is, what do you need?
Yeah.
Did you need food?
Yeah.
And did you have it?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you need clothes? And did you have it?
Still do.
Did you need toys and fun and games and Legos?
Necessarily.
But you had it? And so I had to get him to see, like, you have everything you need.
Yeah.
So why not help someone else? Because you have plenty of playgrounds. You can go to any. They have public playgrounds. You can go to, they have none. And because of you, they'll have one. And so him and I, we started going door to door because I didn't want to tell him, you go, let's go.
Yeah.
I want to show you.
Lead by example.
Here's what I told him. I said, now let me show you the power of you. You're a kid. You're cute. You got a good smile. If I go knock on their door and say, hey, can you give me money for the playground over in Kenya? I don't even want to tell you what they're going to say, but it's going to be after it, they're going to close the door.
Yeah.
But they're probably not going to say yes. I said, but when you go and you show them, you have the power to get them to say yes. And so he went door to door and he'd knock on there and I'd be watching him and they'd be like, oh, that's so nice. And he had a little Cash App thing. He could scan it. And I'm just like,
It's
even for me,
happening.
I was like, this is really, my wife did a Mother's Day tea. It was her 13th year annual last year. And she told him, I'll let you raise money at my Mother's Day tea. Even though she did silent auctions for the homeless shelter, for battered women, for the moms. And so he's learning this stuff. We're reproducing who we are. She told him, you can sell popcorn. Tell him about that.
That was a very good experience. I feel like for not only a business perspective, but just like to help raise for that in general.
And he sold a good amount of money. And then tell him, because it wasn't all fun and games, because he made the money and then
he had to give it up.
So I remember I was counting the money. I was talking about it with my cousins, and then my mom was like, go ahead and give me half.
Right. And she took half, and this was going directly for the project. And so he's like, this is okay. I still have the other half. And she said,
give it to me for savings.
You got to put it in savings because you're going to have to take a trip over to Africa to see the project.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now he's like, I did all that work. But now here's what's powerful. Even after you did all that work, did you still have all the food you needed? Yeah. You still had all the clothes you needed.
Mhm.
You still had entertainment. Right. In the end, you still had everything you needed. Right. And so what I wanted him to see is you can have everything and you need and still benefit someone else. Because here's the thing, and him and I were talking about this on the way down here. We all benefit from people that what? We don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Tell them some ways that we benefit from people that we don't know.
Do you know who invented the first phone?
No.
And you're still benefiting from, right? Do you have a phone?
Yeah.
Who invented the internet?
I don't
No,
know.
I have no clue, but I use it every single
day.
day, almost every hour of the day.
The refrigerator, the toilet,
Yeah.
We don't know any of that stuff.
Mm-mm.
I don't know who's made
Made
this
this chair?
chair. I don't know who carved this stick that I'm holding. I don't know who made this necklace, the car that I drive. I don't know where the parts came from. I don't know any of that, but we still benefit. I say that to say we're not as emotionally intelligent as we should be. We start criticizing different groups and different races and different people, and they're not this and they're not that, and they shouldn't have. You don't know.
Yeah.
You could be criticizing the very person who made this plate you're about to eat off of. You have no idea. We
That's true.
all benefit from people that we don't know. And once you truly understand that, you have a true appreciation for everybody.
Yeah.
Because everybody, like, I was blown away when we went out back and you had that truck that can take us all the way up there and work on the electrical line. I've never known anybody with one of those trucks. I'm glad I know somebody now. I know who to call. And it ain't Ghostbusters. But my point is, I know somebody now. When the power goes out and we need somebody to go fix the lines, we have no idea who's doing it. We just know that we're out of everything until they get up and the power's back on. And all we're doing is sitting in the dark. Some of us got batteries and candles and backup lights. But until somebody that we don't even know goes and fix those lines, we're just waiting.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence says that there's people that we benefit from that we have no idea who they are. We should extend grace to everyone.
Yeah. Listen up, people. I got to take a moment to show some serious love to one of our incredible sponsors, the Rub Barbecue, located in Olathe at 10512 South Ridgeview Road in Olathe, Kansas, 66061. You can reach them by phone at 913-782-8872. Now, let me just tell you something. This ain't just another barbecue spot. This right here is family. I know the owner, Dan, personally, and every single time we need something, he shows up and he shows out. We are always taken care of, no matter what. That's the kind of people they are. Whether you're dining in, grabbing carry out, or planning something big, they've got you covered. They cater and they'll even bring the experience to you with a food truck. If you have an event, they will bring that food truck to your venue. Now, here's what hit home for me. Being originally from Omaha, Nebraska, I walked in expecting to find a taste of home. Lo and behold, this man created a barbecue bowl that screamed Nebraska, and he did it all for me. So get over there and check out that bowl. It's called the Nebraska Bowl. Now, you combine that with an awesome crew and a great atmosphere and a location that's super easy to get to, and it's a winning formula, ladies and gentlemen. Do me a favor and go check out the Rub Barbecue. And again, that address is 10512 South Ridgeview Road, Olathe, Kansas, 66061. Or give them a call at 913-782-8872. I'm telling you, y'all, your taste buds are going to thank you for it. Anyway, we're going to get back to it.
So I was just saying that it's in these experiences from benefiting from people that we don't know that we realize how blessed we actually are. I believe it's a level of emotional intelligence. I was just talking yesterday to David, and we were just talking, and we have some things in common. He has a group in Uganda that he was caring for and providing for, which really just because that's what I do. I have a group in Uganda right now. Every week we're taking care of. And I don't say it to brag. It's nothing to brag about. I'm blessed to be able to have the opportunity to serve these young girls and young boys. And I believe there's plenty of leaders in that group. But it just represents the best of who we are. When he said it, it just really made me really be thankful of the opportunity to be around people that are not only like-minded, but this is also emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is hanging out with people that are like-minded, for one, because a lot of us do that. But the problem is they're not also like-hearted. Intelligence is like-minded. Emotional intelligence is like-minded and like-hearted. right? And let me prove it to you. We can both be entrepreneurs and be like-minded, and we both want to go make money. And I said, and you know what? We're going to do everything right, and we're going to do it ethical, and we're going to make sure we provide what they need. And you say, I don't care nothing about that. As long as we're making the money that we talked about, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's the difference between like-minded and like-hearted. Because when you're emotionally intelligent and you see, yeah, we're like-minded, but we're not like-hearted, then you understand that we have to put some distance in there, right? Why? Because when you hang out with people, you get on that same frequency. And whatever the frequency is, that's what you frequently see. There's a German proverb that says, when a dove associates with crows, its feathers remain white, but its heart turns black.
Ooh.
Right? And so that's why you can't be around people that are not like-hearted, because it's going to affect you.
It's going to influence you.
It's going to influence you. And so emotionally intelligent parents are raising children that are not only like-minded, but they're also becoming like-hearted.
Which leads me to this question right here. As parents, how important is emotional intelligence in preparing children for leadership in life?
That's great. I want us both, Robinson and I, to answer that question. I'm going to start by saying raising emotionally intelligent children for leadership is important, because we can already see a lot of leaders in a lot of different industries that may be technically good leaders, but they don't have the emotional intelligence to make the right decision. We see that in a lot of industries. Look at all the court cases we've been having because people who were in charge and over people used them and abused them and misused them. Why? Because they had the leadership and the authority to, but they didn't have the emotional intelligence to say, that's a person too.
Yeah.
That's somebody's daughter too. That's somebody's son too. They have a heart too. They have a calling too. You can't just abuse them. You can't just take advantage of them. You can't just use them, but they have no emotional intelligence. And then they can't, and here's some things they say. I didn't know they didn't want it. I didn't know they didn't like it. I didn't feel like I was being overly aggressive. I didn't feel like I was being overbearing, because you have no emotional intelligence. And that's the problem. Some of them, I really did believe that they didn't realize that they were being overbearing and forcing them to do something, because they felt like, no, I'm just getting them to do it. Come on, you know you want to do it. You know you want to. Come on. But they didn't have the emotional wherewithal to realize that this person is showing you all the physical and emotional signals that they didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
The close down, the reservedness, the stepping away, the shyness, the quietness, oh no, I don't, no, thank you. They're just trying to be polite. Maybe they're scared too. Maybe they don't want to escalate it. So they're not yelling. They're not fighting. You see, they can't read the signs. And so they push themselves into a situation where now they end up in the courtroom and they say, no, all of these were signs that you were supposed to see. All of these were things that you were supposed to recognize. You're in charge. And so as a leader, and you're growing up to be a leader, how do you feel like it's going to be, why do you feel like it's going to be necessary for you as a leader to have emotional intelligence?
That is a great question. I feel like with emotional intelligence, that is a great way for you to not only lead people, but connect with people.
So tell me this though. What do you see when you're in the audience and you see your dad up on stage and there's hundreds of people in the room and he's going through what he does? What does that make you feel like? And how does that affect you in your everyday life, knowing what your dad does?
That's a good question. I feel like for me personally, I still see the same guy I wake up across the hall from every morning. And I mean, I do get it. Like sometimes, like my friends will look him up and be like, "Oh my gosh, your dad's. You can look him up on Google." And I'll be like, "Yeah, yeah, you can." But I feel like sometimes they're just the people that he's talking to. He's taking a moment to connect with. What he says is every single time before I do a show, I always like to go in the audience and say hello and meet people. That way he can have a better connection. In order to be a leader, you have to connect with those who you're going to lead.
Right. So let me just say this. How has your father influenced you in your life? When I was growing up, I'm gonna just say this, nephew, I didn't have a dad like this. This man that's sitting in front of you, that sleeps in a room across the hall from you, a lot of people don't have that. And to have the structure that you have, like you just said, I don't see anything different. But look how you're developing. You are an amazing kid. And the thoughts that go through your head aren't thoughts that you think of automatically on your own. Those are seeds that have been planted all your life. Like that morning message, every single morning your dad wakes you up. Those are things that are so profoundly normal to you that, like he said in the beginning of the show, it becomes automatic. So when I asked you, how does what your dad do, not just as a guy on stage or a guy in the dojo or in surgery? How do you see him as an influence of your life?
I've never really thought about it like that, but what I can say is I feel like having him around is really good because it helps me be more professional. Now, I'm probably not the oldest out of some of my friends, but I act the oldest, and I feel
Mhm.
like I get that a lot because I hang around with him, and I feel like he definitely helps with that because he helps me be structurally sound. I can have intellectual conversations with people of you guys' age because I hang around with him and he is an intellectual. And I think that is a great thing to have. It's because he planted those seeds. There's a quote that he said, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone else planted a tree a long time ago.
Ooh,
Isn't that
ooh,
isn't that powerful? Right? And it's to
ooh.
say that we benefit from people we don't know. Someone's sitting in the shade today because someone else planted a tree a long time ago. Listen, see, I love when you ask him these questions, and I love that he struggles to answer. And the reason that he sometimes struggles to answer is because it's normal. He said, I've never even thought of
Yeah.
that. And now here's the problem, and this is why it's going to take us all, is because there's someone with no structure, and it's always been what they know. And so when it's been always what you know, it's just normal. Listen to this. I don't know who discovered water, but I know it wasn't the fish.
So what's
You know what I'm saying? Because they've been in
it's
it their whole life.
it's their
And they
environment.
only notice it till you snatch them out of it. And they're like, what in the world's going on? What is this? So people who are in chaos thrive in chaos because that's what they know. And it's only when you put them in a peaceful situation that, watch this, we try and go back to what we know. So when you put a person that thrives in chaos in peace, they create chaos because it's what they know. They're comfortable in that. When you take a person who thrives in peace and put them in chaos, their whole goal is to return to peace.
Yeah.
Because they can't thrive in chaos. They said, this is too chaotic for me. I got to get out of here. I
Yeah.
got to leave this situation. And it's because emotionally, they're not built for that. They're built for a much more smooth, structured path. And that's what I try and show them, is just a structure, a structure. See, when you know how to do it, it takes the fear away, right? Wayne Dyer said, judgment disrupts the good that lies behind appearances, right? Because we went out back and you showed me your electric truck and you can heist people all the way up there and work on the electric lines and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is a version of Chuck I never even knew. You drive trucks? I don't drive truck. I have people drive truck. But you can drive it?
Yeah.
Yes. And you've been up there? Yes, I've been up there. And then you and I were just talking about how structure is so important when you get up there. There's things I don't do. I snap this off because I don't want to accidentally do this. Then he showed me a video of him saving his son's life because he was getting electrocuted, and he came over and he went, and then boom, he kicked him off because under stress, you digress. You go back to what's most fundamental. And he knew he can't grab him. That's going to send shock through you. So he had to kick him off. That's important. Remember, under stress, we digress. We go back to what we know and what we're comfortable with. And so if what you know is chaos and that's what you're comfortable with, under stress, you're going to digress back to chaos.
Yeah.
If what you know is peace and structure under stress, you're like, wait a minute, let me get organized, right? Because that's what you know and what you're comfortable with.
So our next sponsor is the Frozen Bar right here
Awesome.
in Kansas City's Westport district. Let me tell you, with spring and summer right around the corner, this is a spot you're going to want to pull up to. So if you like options, they got you covered. And if you're about capturing moments, this place is built for you. And don't forget, they switch up pop-ups and like upside down bar, so every visit can feel like something brand new. Where it's a date night, a link up with friends, or even bringing the family out early, they create a space where everybody can vibe. Indoor and outdoor seating, chill atmosphere, just straight good energy. Quick tip, this place gets busy, especially when the warm weather hits. So as the weather heats up, do yourself a favor and check out the Frozen Bar. Where the drinks are cold, the vibes are high, and the experience is unforgettable.
Yes. The Frost Frozen Bar. I had an investment group a couple of years ago. 14 of us got together and started making some investment deals. Well, one of the guys in that group, this is one of his businesses. He's a great man. He's been in the restaurant business for a very long time. He understands what to do and how to make these ventures pop. Get on down there and check it out. Like Blackhawk said earlier, it gets very packed down there. It's down in the Westport area. So if you know anything about the Westport area, you know how things get down there. Go check him out. Prince Robinson, I got a question for you. What lesson did you learn from your father about strength and leadership growing up?
I feel like there is no right or wrong answer for this because I feel like it wasn't just one thing that he taught me that really led me into that leadership and strength position. It was time and time again directing me in the right way, kind of led me into where I am today.
What makes you want to continue to lead yourself down this path? Because you got a great man in front of you already paving the way. What is keeping you on that path? What is making you want to continue to do these things that your parents, because I'm not just going to put this all on the king here. I'm also, because your mom also plays a very big part in this role. What keeps you going straight forward in this path? Because nephew, you are doing some amazing things. I watched the speech in Africa on that playground. This was 2 years ago. Your parents didn't talk you through that. You got up there yourself and you spoke. The words that you spoke, nephew, they were great. What's keeping you there? You got friends, right? And those friends aren't always good friends. Some of them might not always be on the same page as you. You said you got older friends, but you act more mature than them. What's stopping you from becoming one of them?
I think seeing how well they're really doing. Now, some of the choices that my father has made, I wouldn't do. Like, I wouldn't become bald, you know, but like some of the other stuff he's done, I feel like I see how well he's doing. I see how well he's pushing himself. I see how well all of my other siblings are doing.
You can stop there. You can stop right there because all I wanted the audience to hear is what you just said is he's leading by example. I just wanted the audience to understand that as long as he's doing what he's doing and he's watching it and seeing it and witnessing it. I mean, King, what you think?
You're absolutely right. And here's what I want to just reflect on what you said. If you're listening and you're a mother or a father and you're doing the everyday things, those are the real things.
Yeah.
What I've come to realize, this is profound. I just saw this today. This is truth from today. My wife was raised by her grandparents. And so in our house, she has all of these pictures of just families, a bunch of pictures. You know how like some families have like a picture room with all these, this and that. Like she has all these pictures. Sometimes it drives me crazy. I'm like, what is this? It's just too much. I mean, it's too much, right? Because I would probably put some kind of art there or some kind of decorations there or something, right? Then today we were in Topeka visiting my mom, and on my mom's wall is all pictures of family. And then it hit me profoundly. My father, when he was not well enough to be at home because he couldn't be taken care of there and he needed more services than we had at the house, he went to a facility in Lawrence, Kansas. The only thing he wanted there was pictures. Nobody asked for no artwork. No, they wanted family. And I realized that my wife, even being forward thinking, she already had the most important things already. It was already there. You know what I'm saying? I heard a quote that said, the truth in our younger years become the lies in our latter years. All the things that we thought was important and all to do this, it really isn't. It's those little things. So if you're a parent and you're doing those little things, you're showing up every day, you're providing, you're doing the real things. Those are the big things. But when it comes to children, they do more watching than listening. They watch us more than they hear us. And then what happens is they get confused when we tell them to do one thing and we do something else. What I feel like is live the example. The easiest thing to do is live the example. And it's hard if you're not authentic. And write this down if you're listening. You cannot consistently be who you are not, right? Why do we have so many divorces and stuff? Because you can't consistently be who you are not. They say, oh, and I'm this great guy and I'm this great woman. And when we get together and it's easy to put on the show for 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years. But at some point you're like, I can't do this. The people, they'll even say those words. I can't do this anymore. What is it that you're doing?
Yeah.
I can't be the person you want me to be. Why weren't you just being yourself from the start? What I can say about my wife is she is who she is. That's who she is. I am who I am. That's who I am. And so what I want to show my son that I want him to emulate when he gets older and even now is be who you are and who you are, be.
Boom.
That way, when you make friends, let them like you because of who you are. If you have to be something different for them to like you, you either have to keep pretending the rest of your life or it's going to fall apart. Why? Because you cannot consistently be who
Who
you
you're
are
not.
not, right? I mean, how many times do we meet somebody, even speakers? That's one of the things that drives me the craziest the most. You're on the stage and you see this great speaker and you're like, man, they're amazing. Then you go up and talk to them afterwards and they're a jerk. And you're like, who are you? I was coming for the guy on the stage. Who are you? And that's why they say, you're the same person on the stage when you're off the stage. Right. I'm the same person.
Authenticity.
It's the authenticity. And to me, that's a part of emotional intelligence. I'm smart enough to know that if I'm ever going to have long-term relationships, they have to count on me being the person they know me to be. Because once they come 2 or 3 times and you're not that person, they stop coming. They no longer want to be involved. They say, I don't know what it is now. They're just not the same.
Yeah.
Right. And then that fact is what's going to make it difficult for a lot of people who realize that they've been in the wrong environment and the wrong relationships and the wrong situation, and now they want to change. And what happens is the people around you, they're not going to want you to change.
Nope.
And most of the time when they say, Chuck, when they say you've changed, it's because you've stopped living your life their way. Listen to that. Most of the time when people say to you, you've changed, it's because you stopped living your life their way and they want you to go back to living it for them. And you can't do that.
No.
And so sometimes that change is necessary, but oftentimes with that change comes a break because I can't be who you wanted me to be. We've been in this relationship. There's some things I've learned about myself. And if you've got to make the break here, do what I did. Hey, reach out to them, say, hey, I'm making some changes in my life. And if you don't hear from me, you're one of them.
I want to touch on this. I had a brother, my younger brother. He called me. He asked me for $50 one day. I knew what he wanted the $50 for, and I knew it wasn't going to help him. So I told him no. I said, but let me help give you something that will help you over and over and over again. Because I give you this $50, you're going to use it for something stupid, and you're going to take it away from me. You know what he told me, Ruben? He called me a BAN and said, you ain't my brother no more. And he said the words that affirmed something in me. He said, you changed.
Yeah.
He said, you're not the same brother. You taught me how to hustle. You taught me how to bang. You taught me how to do all of this stuff. And now you ain't the same dude. You've changed. You ain't my brother no more. And I said, you know what? Let me say this, bro. I love you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Because today you helped me affirm something because I'm not the same person, bro.
Right.
And I did teach you to do all of that stuff. But like I did back then, let me teach you something different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, when people don't want to change, they distance themselves.